Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to my friends on YouTube. This is a recording of a video that was shot in late April 2025, originally on TikTok, and I am just clicking up some likes. Some people will be coming into the room very soon. This is right about the time that people do, and we will begin the big show. Alrighty, hey Rivers, how are you? Hi Sid, hi User, hi Austin. Glad you're here. Thank you for being here. Hi Timothy. Hello Wisco. Good morning, good evening, good morning, wherever you are on this fine planet of ours. My name is Josh. It's good to meet you all. I was a porn addict for 24 years. That's right, I was a porn addict for 24 years. And I was an alcoholic for 22 years. I have now been sober and relapse-free for the last 11 years. And for the last 8 years, I've worked in this industry, first as an author and as a presenter, speech giver, that kind of stuff. And the last 5 years, I have been a full-time pornography addiction coach. Along with also being a betrayal trauma coach and a therapeutic disclosure specialist. If anybody has any questions, I'm more than happy to take them on. Hello, David. It's good to see you two again. I'm glad that you have joined us, and you know how much I appreciate if you and everybody else here taps up those likes, tappity tap 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 up those likes for me. That gets more people in here. That gets us into the algorithm. That puts us in front of people on their FYP pages. That's how people are going to start to change their lives, simply by having it in front of them. So please tap up some likes if you wouldn't mind. David says, on day 2 of breaking the PMO cycle for the first time in my life. Congratulations, David. Congratulations. And watch the P, watch the M. If the O is with somebody else, it's okay. Don't go too far into NoFap lore. But I think it's fantastic. And keep in mind that it is just as much a physical issue. It is just as much a mental issue as a physical issue. And I know that you can do it. I know you can do it. Hey, Oth, good to see you. Oth, I was going to ask you a question. Can you please take a screen capture or two and send it to me on email or on text? I've never seen what this looks like from the user side, and when I'm framing things and everything like that, it would just be good to know. So if you could do that sometime tonight, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, so let me tell you all a little bit about myself, and then we will, or I'll answer questions. Opinion on the way of quitting the girls that look manly in their own way of a movie with the same? Are you asking how to stop looking at trans porn? Cool. I'm trying to, opinion of the quitting the girls that look manly in their own way of a movie with the same. I don't quite understand what you're saying. Or if I am dead on accurate and you're asking about trans porn, I can certainly answer that. David says, O is the goal, of course. Just trying to cut off the P and the M. Very good. Okay, say cheese. Cheese. Okay, there. Hope you all got that. Yeah, so anyway, my name is Josh. I was a porn addict 24 years. I was an alcoholic for 22 years. I have been clean and sober for the last 11 years, and that includes also being relapse-free the entire time. I got into this industry about 8 years ago, first as an author and a presenter. I've written 4 books. I've spoken at schools, colleges, libraries, churches, that kind of thing. Did a TED Talk, given hundreds of interviews, blah, blah, blah. More importantly, 5 years ago, I became a full-time certified pornography addiction coach, a full-time certified betrayal trauma coach, and a full-time certified couples disclosure specialist. So I can help the addict. I can help the partner. I can help the couple as a unit. specifically in the areas of communication and trust. All I would ask, if you're going to hang out here, is to please click up those likes. Please click up those likes. Appreciate that very much. That doesn't earn me a dime. It gets us more into the algorithm. It puts this on people's FYP pages. About 80% of my clients find me first through TikTok, but they have to find me. You may not need this, but your click may put it in front of somebody who does. So I would appreciate that if you would give some clicks. If you're not following me, please do. And also share this if you feel like it's worthy for the rest of the world to hear. Lamb the Sauce asks, how do I stop? Well, the first thing you need to do is figure out why. Why must you stop? And it's not anything to do with statistics, and it's not anything to do with, what you've heard. Why must you stop? How is it affecting your life? What is more important than the porn? And I don't mean what would you like to be more important than the porn. What is more important than the porn? You need to figure that out. You need to figure out your motivation to move forward. That's where you first begin. Before you learn a tool or a technique to cut down on the behavior, before you talk about the trauma that was the underlying root, you need to know why you must quit. How will porn ruin your life if you don't? Are you going to lose a partner because you've been lying? Do you worry that you'll never get a partner because you're an addict? Is it physical or mental issues that you're worried about, so you must quit? Maybe it's a moral thing. Maybe it's a character thing. It's turning you into somebody you don't recognize. You never used to need to use at work, and now you do. Where is this going to lead? You need to take care of this before you become somebody you don't recognize. You have to find your must. ASMR, 11 days. Well, there's my happy 11 days ASMR. Boogathy Jr., when I am trying to quit, after a few days, I just relapse. What could I do to not relapse? Well, if you only go a few days between using, it's not called relapsing. It's called just using. Why are you relapsing? Whatever you're doing is not working. So what are you doing to try to relapse? What are you doing to try to stop the relapse? Do you know when do you know the relapse is going to happen? Do you hear voices that morning? Come on, you're going to use. Today's the day. Is it something that triggers you that causes you to go back every 3 days? You have to look at these relapses. What is causing you to relapse? That's the number one question. NX Trust. .ant, thank you for sharing the live. Appreciate that. Mr. Biggles. Mr. Bigglesworth, what was that? Austin Powers. Hey man, just want to let you know that your videos really do matter. They help a lot. Thank you. That is very kind. Thank you very much. That is something that I do need to hear once in a while. So I appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. Vivi da Pipi. That's fun to say. Followed the live creator. I'm going to leave. My internet is bad. I'm sorry. It might also be mine. I've noticed more and more it says uneven connection or whatever the yellow light is. So my daughter's moving in and we have bought a booster. So we'll see if that helps, if it is on my end. Josh Hill. Love your name. 30-ish days clean, and I found just relying on prayer and God has helped the most. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. It's good that you have that foundation. That's, being spiritual, going within, whether it's, doesn't really even matter the religion, having that inner meditative state, having that strength, the belief in the strength that you can do it. Having that inner meditative state, having that strength, the belief in the strength that you can do it. That's the most important thing I think that comes with spirituality or religion. Is not all the dogma, is not which God did this and which magical power or does that. I think it's really that it just gives you the faith and the knowledge that you can do this. It gives you the belief. And if that's what it does, I think that's fantastic. Just remember that there also is a scientific component about this. And you cannot pray addiction away. You cannot pray health issues away. If you could, nobody would die of cancer. Hey, Josh Geiger's here. Hey, Carol's here. Good to see you, Carol. Hope you've been having a better week. I have thought about you several times. Been sober for 10 years. Good job, Richards fam. Recently, I have to take pain meds for health condition. Feel guilty. I understand, but is this, you are not doing this as a recreational woo-hoo, let's have fun, right? Okay, that's number one. You're not doing that. Number two, you're not doing it because you are hooked on it. You are not doing it because you have anxiety and stress from early childhood because of trauma. You have a health condition, and we are fortunate enough at this point in history to have science be able to use things that are natural and concoct things in labs that can either ease our pain or that can heal our pain. You do not need to feel guilty about this. This is the healthiest choice. To me, that's what addiction and that's what recovery is about. And I say this a lot of time to my clients. Recovery is, if you want to bring it down to one thing, recovery is about asking yourself the question, am I making the healthy choice? And it sounds like, Richards fam, the healthy choice in this way is for you to take the pain meds. And I would also say, because you are paying attention to this, it probably won't turn into a problem, so you probably don't have to feel guilty. That's at least what I think. I'm going to still do it, dude. No, don't. Don't still do it. Airball says it's dedication. That's certainly a big piece of getting over the addiction. I did an interview for a podcast yesterday or the day before, and that's one of the things that, I focused on. My clients who say they're going to do it, who know they're going to do it, they do it because they won't let anything stop them. They don't come to see me to find it. They do it because they won't let anything stop them. They don't come to see me to find an excuse why they can't get better. So, some people do, but it's about dedication. Dedication is one of the absolute hallmarks. Self-control, self-awareness, courage. I guess these are all synonyms, but these are all the things that you need. What is a healthy amount? Well, there is no healthy amount. It's not like you are in the way you are now and then you use and then you're healthier. Like if you drink orange juice or take vitamins or exercise, pornography and masturbation will not make you healthier. The best you can hope for is that it doesn't have any short or long-term effect. And these are people who use once, twice a month, super recreationally, as a surrogate for the real thing. People who don't have any obsession or addiction with it. It's not healthy, but it's not going to cause problems historically and scientifically like that. But yeah, there is no specific healthy versus not healthy amount. It's what it's doing to you. It's what healthy means to you. Airball says, I'm going to keep whacking the grass. Well, that's good. That could mean you're going outside to landscape. It could be a masturbation reference, or it could be a drug reference, I guess. There's something so funny about guys telling on themselves in here, as though being alone in your room touching yourself is the cool thing to do. Yeah. Uh, you're funny tonight, Oth. Richard's fam, yes, I need it. I have blood clots in my lungs. If I don't, cause bigger problems. Well, absolutely, dude. If you're dead, we can't have these philosophical discussions on whether it's right or wrong. So obviously it's the right thing to do. We need you alive. I would rather you be alive and an addict than dead and dead, because that's what you are when you're dead. You're dead. So I would say that yes, you take those pills if they're going to keep you alive, and be happy that science has brought us to where it has today. Because 100 years ago you may not even be able to face this option. Yeah, exactly. Brennix, if you've been here the hundreds of hours that Oth and I have been here, you see the same dumbass jokes, the same dumbass threats over and over. Like, no matter what you say, I'm going to go masturbate. Okay, guy at home on Saturday night, you do that. Hey Lee, I assume it's not Lay, I assume it's Lee. Is the no-fap thing any good? It's not based on any science. If the idea of a bunch of guys beating their chests saying we're strong, we don't have to do this, appeals to you, great. But no-fap has kind of moved into some incel territories, the red pill, the 80-20, and those corners of no-fap are very toxic. No-fap also is not based in science whatsoever. It's not based in history. There are no, studies that can confirm no-fap works. No-fap also, and a few of you who've been here long enough know this, but no-fap comes out of an episode of Seinfeld. It originated on Reddit a long time ago. No-fap is a mostly young men's support group that if it helps you, it helps you. But there's not a lot of science behind it helping you, and the people who have come to me or who I've had as clients who have tried no-fap, usually if they're truly addicts, it doesn't help. Or I'd say every time they're addicts, it doesn't help. Maybe it helps recreational users. It doesn't help addicts. Acorn Wheatfield, what about drink addiction? What about it? I was actually an alcoholic for 22 years. Porn addict 24 years, alcoholic 22 years. What are you curious about alcoholism? If I can answer it, I will. If I can't, I won't. Hesitrons. Kanye is a great example of corn addiction. Money won't change the person. No, he's also a great example of untreated bipolar disorder. And I say this because I have bipolar disorder. And I can tell you the 2 or 3 times in my life I've pulled myself off of those pills. Some really, I think the way the French call it is fucked up shit happens. More than and I understand the connection between bipolar and porn addiction and alcoholism. Kanye's got issues with all of this, but the reason he acts the way he acts is because he takes himself off of his bipolar medication. And that leaves him with a massive chemical imbalance that causes odd behaviors. And money will never change that. And no matter who his fembot girlfriend or wife at the moment is, they won't change that. His music won't change that. It's a physical issue. It's a chemical disorder. It manifests with mental health conditions, but it's a physical disorder. Hey, Richards fam, glad you're following me. Thank you. Hope the rest of you will follow me. Please click up the likes. If you have any questions, go ahead. I know I'm falling behind. I will be catching up with me. Hey, Rach is here. Glad to be here. Glad you're here. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad you're here. Tips for consistency. I can go like 10 days and then spiral the next 2. What you need to do is figure out why do you spiral at that point. You need to do what's called the prelapse autopsy. Once you're relapsing, you're relapsing. We're not going to stop you. However, there is a situation where you are making decisions leading up to that relapse. You are ignoring the little voices in your head. You are ignoring your better judgment. You are entertaining the thoughts that you're going to give in. And they get deeper and deeper and deeper. And now I'm sitting in front of my phone. Maybe I'll look at some content, but not dirty content. Maybe I can. You slide into a relapse. And you can put your hands on the edge of that slide, just like on the playground, anytime you want, if you recognize that's what's happening. So, Cortez, absolutely dive deep into looking at what happens, what are the red flags before you get there. I need to let my dog in because it's barking like a fool outside. I will be back in about 1 minute. Talk amongst yourself. Hey guys. Lots of dogs. Okay. Hi everybody. Thank you for staying here. Appreciate that. Okay, let me go back to where we were. We were talking about the guys who think they're cool, and Huff says they have to be contrarian. In this context, it's just sad. They're like, joke's on you, I'm going to do it even more now. Yeah, exactly. That's a good answer. Thank you. You're welcome, Lee. And thank you for being here tonight. Appreciate that. I was a Suboxone addict. Oh, were you a heroin addict before that? Mose, how to stop? Keep listening. Figure out why you're using. Why must you use porn? Oh, okay. Family's home. Good. Now I don't have to worry about dogs anymore, but we'll probably hear them a lot more. And a flight of stairs should not make me that winded. Figure out why you must stop, Mose. You have to figure out your motivation before you start. J-Law I-85. Can you discuss what PIED is? Is it just as simple as stopping if you have it to cure it? Well, PIED stands for porn-induced erectile dysfunction. And it is, while it's not a new phenomenon, it's new to the mainstream because of what's been happening with pornography over the last couple decades. It is where a man has watched so much pornography and satisfied himself to so much pornography that when he is with his partner, he cannot perform. Whether that means he can't finish, he can't keep it up, or he can't get it up at all. There are different versions of this as well. With some guys, when they get this, porn doesn't affected at all. That's the only way they can actually get off, is to continue to use porn. Real life doesn't do it anymore. They need porn. And in the worst cases, porn has killed everything, and even the porn itself doesn't work. As far as wanting to recover from this, yes, you can. You absolutely can. But there are two overarching rules. Number one, you cannot look at porn, and number two, you cannot touch yourself. And it's not going to be fast. It's going to depend on, number one, how old are you? How long have you been using? How often do you use? How long have you had the PIED? And what kind of lifestyle do you live? Do you exercise? Do you eat well? Are you generally a positive, upbeat person? Or, are you older? Or do you live a sedentary life? Do you not eat well? That's going to take longer because you're not as healthy. So I can tell you that, yes, it's simple as far as not looking and not touching yourself. But it could be 3 to 6 months if you are in good health. And it can be as long as 1.5 years, 2 years if you're not. Melvin, thank you for the flower. Appreciate that. It can take a long time either way. You need to... Sorry, I lost my spot here. If you're going to take that much time, you need to... Sorry, I lost my spot here. If you're going to take that much time from not using porn, I would not look at it as I'm going to recover and then go back, because clearly you have an issue with pornography. This isn't a matter of you broke your leg skiing, your leg heals, you go skiing again. That's not the way you want to look like. That's not the way you want to look at this. Thank you for the rose, Rach. Thank you for the roses, David. Thank you for following me. King E says, a girl is about to FaceTime me to goon to her. Should I do it? I'm about 1 week in. No, I don't think you should. You said girl. I hope you mean woman, as in somebody who is 18 or over, because you don't want to make this illegal. But, dude, let me ask you a question. What's up with this girl? Why does she want to show you her body so you can get off? Why don't you have a conversation with her? Get to know her better. You know what? She's got boobs. You know what? She's got an ass. You know what? She's got a vagina. And I don't even know what her face looks like. You're 1 week not doing this, and this is a terrible behavior to have. Because this is going to warp the way that you look at women. Do not do that. Do not do that. Rich fam. Nope, just some Vicks. They gave me the max dose as soon as I went to the clinic. Oh, interesting. Yeah, most of the people I have known who've done the Suboxone route are because they were coming off of heroin. How did you kick it? How did you kick it? What were the keys to kicking it? Just beyond the, once you get through the withdrawals, what's the key to kicking the Suboxone, since ironically that's usually what you give people to kick something else. Instead of trying to stop, try to make stopping easier. Sorry, just letting a cat out. That's kind of the do we go cold turkey or do we ease down discussion. And, I guess it's semantics, whatever you have to say to yourself, whatever you have to do, it's the end that matters. Have you stopped? And are you doing the deeper stuff to understand why you got there? Richard's fam. Anne was hooked. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that a lot. You know, those are big business. When I was in rehab, my first rehab was just a drug and alcohol place, and there were people who had to take Suboxone. Boy, that stuff was under lock and key. You know, it was under lock and key big time. Ido, hello, remember me? Not specifically. Did you say something that would make me remember you, aside from the fact that you have a very beautiful dog in your photo? Yes, sir. Thank you, King. I know, you know what, King? I get why you want to. A pretty girl wants to, I assume you think she's pretty. A pretty girl wants to show you her body. You can get off to it. What's wrong with that? And you can block out everything that is wrong with that, but you wouldn't be here asking us if you didn't already know it's wrong. You're just looking for us to confirm it, but you know it's wrong. Trust yourself. Don't even know what goon to her means and don't want to know. You know, gooning used to mean a specific kind of masturbation, but it seems lately that a lot of these Gen Z guys are just using goon as a synonym of masturbation. Hey, thank you for those 20 goats. Thank you for those 20 goats. Appreciate that. Epicurus of Samos. That, I wonder what they did in history. Thank you for following me. 30-day inpatient rehab. Gotta love rehab. I did 2 rehabs myself. 70 days for alcohol and 50 days for the porn. Did that make the big difference? As far as, you know, was it just you needed to be outside of your routines you were in? Did you learn a lot of deep stuff? Did you, how did you feel about rehab? I'm always curious because not a lot of people go, and it's kind of like, if you've never been, it's really hard to explain to people. It's like a spa meets a cult. Hi, I need help. Every time I take a step in quitting, I take 2 steps back. Can you give us an example, Melvin? What does that mean? You quit for 2 days and then you use for 4? I mean, what are we talking about here? Wally says, well, I thought it was a woman. You may have said something before that, Wally, that did not come through, because that sounds like the end of a story. So if you want to tell the beginning, feel free. Please be like Carol. Keep liking up the live. Wow, the words aren't coming tonight. Keep liking up the live. Keep tapping it. Share it if you feel so inclined. If you're not following me, please do. And I should also mention, despite the fact I'm tongue-tied today, I'm a pretty decent coach. Whether you're dealing with porn addiction, whether you are dealing with the betrayal of someone who you're a partner with who has done something like this, or whether you're in a couple trying to get some help and build some trust and communication, I can help you. Click on the link tree on my front page and it will bring you to a set of options. Pick the second one and all of your questions about scheduling will be there. Healthy view of sex and intimacy connection. 100%. 100%. You need to, this is not, I always have to explain to everybody, whether it's the addict or the partner of the addict, the goal in recovery is not to kill your sexuality. The goal is not to make you asexual. The goal is for you to have healthy sexuality. Sex is wonderful. It's why you and I are here today. For those of us who have kids, it's why they're here today. But it goes beyond just the intercourse act. It's sexuality goes much deeper. Intimacy is even more deep. And intimacy goes way beyond sex. Those of you who are here often will hear me say sexual intimacy is the easiest kind to get. It's the only kind you can actually buy, I guess. Intellectual intimacy, emotional intimacy, spiritual intimacy, these are all things that need work. And, if you want to be a healthy person, those have to be healthy. So thank you, Chanda Panda. Richard's fam says, yes, sir, I stopped. It was a shock, but I learned I could do things for myself. Well, good for you. Good for you. And good for you for recognizing that you had to step backward in your life and go to a rehab. I fought that. I didn't fight that idea for super long, but because I knew there was no other option. But yeah, it was a tough one. Ryan, thank you for sharing the live. Carol, thank you for sharing the live. Lion Zong, been a month since I haven't. Nice job. Urge is getting really strong. What is the best way to get through them? To be prepared. You know they're going to happen. So what are the conditions that you would give in? Well, number one, being alone. Number two, being alone with your device. Number three, being alone with your device for a long time. Number four, putting yourself around things that you know are triggers. Maybe it's, I don't know, certain movies, certain music, hanging out in certain places, talking to certain people, looking at certain social media things. You have to try to create conditions that will not lead to this. To try to create conditions that will not lead to this. You don't want to stack the deck in that order. And if urges are getting strong, here's the thing. The relapse may have started. You may be in prelapse. Talk yourself down. The urges are getting stronger. The urges are getting stronger. The urges are getting stronger. I'm going to give in. I know I'm going to give in. No. This is your brain trying to get you to minimize what's happening, trying to get you to not listen to your smarter side. The side that says, I know this isn't healthy. The side that says, I know I won't feel better after. But as you continue to entertain those voices, entertain those urges, you'll go down that road. You can do this. I know how difficult it is, but you can do this. You will find something else to do. You will find something better to do. And this will get easier. It's been a month. That's fantastic. It's going to be longer. But your mind is already healing. I don't know what you're doing as far as the trauma side of things, but your mind is already healing. You know you can go a month. Take every day one at a time, and if that's too much, take chunks of time. You wake up in the morning, I am not going to use until lunch. And then just make it to lunch. If you can't do that, I woke up at 8 in the morning, I am going to make it till 9. Can't do that? I have this one moment in time. Right now, Lion, you're sitting here talking to us. All you have is this 1 minute. You are not using in this 1 minute. That is fantastic. What happens when I finish this live? What is your next move? Know what it is, and then know what your next move is after that. Start scheduling yourself out. And that literally can mean wake up 8 a.m., 8 to 8:30, shower and get dressed. 8:30 to 9, breakfast. 9 to 10, read. 11 to 12, go to church, go for a walk. 12 to 2, go visit mom and dad. Schedule out your life. Schedule out your life. And forward you go. I know you can do this. And great job on the month. By the way, pat yourself on the back too. A month is not a tiny amount of time. Hey, Yuri, it's good to see you again. I'm glad you're back. Haven't seen you in a few days. And thank you for sharing the live also, Lion. Thanks. What is the difference between a slip-up versus a relapse? One is taking ownership for what you did, and one is making an excuse and trying to minimize what you did. They're both relapses. A slip-up, an oopsie, versus a relapse. Call it what you want. You know, there are a lot of people, and this is one place where a lot of the therapists and the 12-step groups and others, and I absolutely diverge. And they look at me and they even get, I've had arguments with people about this. There is a common phrase that says relapse is part of recovery. To which I say that is horseshit. Relapse is the opposite of recovery. Relapse is failure. Relapse is a failure in the decision-making system of recovery. It's not part of it. It's the whole thing breaking down. Now, can you learn from it? I effing hope so. If you can't learn from it, you know, that kind of sucks, actually. If you relapse, you might get as much mileage out of it as you can by absolutely dissecting why it happened. But it still is a relapse. And there's no way to shine it up and put a pretty red bow and say it's anything but a failure of the program, a failure of your plans. And calling it a slip-up takes the responsibility off your shoulders. You know, it's the difference between, you know, shooting somebody and pinching them. Whoop, slip up. Yeah, there's a relapse. It's the same thing. Same thing. I feel like the best way to stop relapsing is by punishing yourself if you do relapse. Works for me. How do you punish yourself, Yuri? Because if you're making unhealthy choices in the punishment, this may even be part of the addiction. So what do you use as a punishment? How do I get the info from you reading the video of you in? What do you mean by that, cool? Do you mean like you want a transcript of what I'm saying? Otherwise, I think you can just, you just have the captions. You have the captions you can watch. I don't know if you can cut and paste. I don't know if you're asking about the studies. I don't know I don't know if you can cut and paste. I don't know if you're asking about the studies. I don't know what you're asking. Does anybody see a +2 up in the corner of the screen next to the amount of, now a +3, the amount of people who are in the room? Or am I the only one who sees that? It's never been there before. Eli, thank you for following me. Appreciate that much. Glad you're here. Brooke the Stratton. So I haven't for a little bit, week or two. Good for you. Wondering why it is bad outside of disappointing God. It's a good question. And a lot of people could care less about God. And yes, it's for promotion. Oh, okay. Excellent. I need to learn what that means. Thank you, Carol. We'll put the God thing aside because that's your relationship with your belief system. Why is it bad? Because number one, in about 1 out of 5 men and about 1 out of 8 women, it actually becomes an addiction. With addiction comes, you know, brain damage, comes a life that is unmanageable. It's addiction. But even if you're not an addict, for a lot of people, it puts unrealistic expectations on real life sex. It can hurt your real life sex. Even if you're not an addict, engaging in this kind of stuff has been proven in different reports and different studies to lead to anxiety, to lead to stress. It can lead to sexual dysfunction. And not to mention, think about all the kids that are watching it. The number one 5-year age group of people watching porn is 12 to 17 years old. We don't know what watching thousands of hours of hardcore pornography does to people because it's never happened in the history of our civilization before. But the early response isn't good. More and more people are becoming addicts than ever before. And it is giving people very skewed views of sex. Here's an example, Brooke. One of the last times that I spoke at a college, I was speaking to a women's health group at the little health center that they had, women's sexuality group at the health center that they had, probably about 25 women, age 18 to 22, mainly a couple adults or older ladies there. And I gave my whole song and dance that I used to give, went to the Q&A time, and a woman who I would guess was probably 19 or 20 raised her hand and said, "Have you heard about trends on college campuses that fewer women want to have sex with male virgins?" And I was like, "I have not heard this." And I could see, based on the eyes and the faces, male virgins. And I was like, "I have not heard this." And I could see, based on the eyes and the faces of some of these young ladies in the room, that they had stories to tell. So I stayed a while and we talked about this and I learned about this. And we're now going back about 6-7 years. I have spoken with college-age women since then, and I hear this again and again and again. They don't want to have sex with virgin men. Doesn't necessarily mean incels. But the problem is we have a generation of young men and young women who have grown up with thousands of hours of pornography. This has become their sex ed. And when you look at porn and you've had normal, healthy sexual relations in your life, you know it's fiction. You know that porn is not a documentary. Porn is not a reality show. Porn is a fictionalized version of some extreme version of intercourse. But if you're 14 years old watching this for 3 hours after school every day, whether you're the man or the woman, how do you know? Guy or girl, how do you know? You don't. It's also leading to the DIY porn industry, the OnlyFans of the world, the cam sites of the world. We don't know what the long-term effects of people doing this are going to be. We can go back and talk to the Girls Gone Wild models, and some of them have some pretty bad stories to tell. But we don't know what's going to happen to the mental health of all of those cam models, all of those OnlyFans models. There's a lot of reasons why we have to be careful about this stuff. It's affecting our society like we've never seen, and most people are immune to it because either they don't want to talk about it, they want to bury their head in the sand, they think it's taboo. Oh, if I say the word porn, it sounds like I'm behind it. Or they don't want to talk about it because they have a problem. It's a tough place to be, considering what this is. Lion says, so that's a long answer to that, Brooke. That's exactly what I needed to hear. Thank you, sir. You're welcome. Okay, Carol, what the hell do these numbers mean? What is this promotion? Tree Hugger, I'm 3 days clean. It feels different right now. I hope I can finally be free from it. Good for you, man. Good or woman. Good for you. Good for you, man or woman. It feels different. That's great. It might feel the same. Preparation. Prepare for the next urge. Prepare for the next trigger. 24/7 lasting freshness. Exactly what I want in my fabric softener. Thank you for following. I'm a gambler. Well, Stut, then you probably understand addiction if you're a gambler. I was just in Vegas a while back. I don't understand how people can gamble there and blow their life savings, but I'm sure plenty of the people there don't understand how you can be a porn addict. Colored Up. Literally just follow the word of God and all of these silly modern problems are not an issue, really. So you don't have to pay taxes. And you don't have to eat well or exercise. You don't have to follow the laws. Which God? There are a lot of gods out there. And literally follow it? Because most holy books have some pretty extreme things in them. Do you have any tips to stop? Yeah, sure. Don't isolate. Don't be by yourself. If you're not isolating, if you're not by yourself, you're with somebody. If you're with somebody, you're probably not looking. You're probably not touching. You feel an urge coming on, go be with someone. If you don't have anybody to be around, go find somebody. There's a 24-hour diner around you somewhere. Feeling like gooning right now. What should I do? Are you talking about just masturbating or are you talking about gooning? Because it seems like every guy is now using that word incorrectly. I don't care what you do. What do you think you should do? I'm giving you plenty of reasons why you shouldn't be using pornography, why masturbation, if you're an addict, can't be done without pornography, but you're your own man. Do what you want. T. Swayze, thank you for following me. Brooke, hey, Brooke said take a walk. Listen to Brooke. Brunax. Can corn be healthy in any circumstance? Somebody gave a here's why porn is healthy, and it was the other day, and I remember for just a second it was like, holy shit, that makes sense, and I forgot what it was immediately because it's never been part of my routine. But there is one thing, and I forgot it immediately, but it was like, holy crap. I really have trouble coming up with any way it's healthy. I really do. Because anybody's gain off of pornography, well, some people make money. Yeah, those other people lose it. I cannot think of what it would be. I appreciate the answer. Thank you. Well, thank you for being here, Brooke the Stratton. Carol explains to me, as Carol does a lot in my life, explaining of things to me. These numbers indicate how many of people have joined due to the promotion. What is the promotion? What am I promoting? Where am I promoting it? Thank you, bro. You're welcome, Tree Hugger. The biggest yams shared the live. Thank you. Some people will say you're nothing but sweet potatoes, but to me, you'll always be the biggest yams. This shows you my obsessive compulsive statistics mind. What the hell does that number mean up there? Hello, Janessa. My partner is an addict. Do you really not have urges after healing? It's possible. It takes a long time, but yeah. And you got to remember the different, in urge. I still have normal heterosexual urges. I'm not supposed to get rid of those. I still want to get together with my wife and do what a healthy heterosexual male does with his wife. I imagine if I didn't have a wife, I would want to do that with a girlfriend, or probably still have urges to do it, and, with just wanting to do it. That's what healthy heterosexual males do, and I think that's what healthy heterosexual females do too. I don't have urges to access sexual material, sexual media, for the purpose of creating mind chemicals, even if I don't know I'm creating them, but for the purpose of creating a storm of chemicals in my mind to deal with my anxiety and fear and stress and everything bad in the world. But And it's not like you don't want to be asexual. And it's not like, if I'm watching a TV show and a naked man or a naked woman walks in the room, it's not like I don't notice. It's a naked man or a naked woman. It's not what you see every day. But I don't have any urge to go satisfy myself to it. So yes, it is, once you have taken care of the physical part of healing the brain, and once you've taken care of the mental part of dealing with the trauma, which are the two, the main thing that I do with my clients, man or woman, the urges will eventually go away that are addictive in nature. The ones that are normal, libido-like urges, they're actually supposed to be there. They're actually supposed to be there. Get a hobby. Get a lot of hobbies. The more hobbies you have, the more things you can do when you are wondering what you should do instead of using. The more things you have to do, the better off you will be. Please keep tapping up those likes. Please keep sharing the live. Please keep following. If you are somebody who thinks you could benefit from some one-on-one coaching time with me, or you think that your relationship could benefit, go to the front page of my profile, click on the link tree, and the second option will be about how to schedule with me. And if you're from Generation Z, I would really appreciate it if you also would go to the link tree on my front page, click on that, and pick the first option, which is a survey that I am taking of Gen Z adults for a presentation that I will be making at a conference in June in Tennessee. So thank you very much. So someone here is called Tongue Splitting Biggest Yams, and somebody's called The Biggest Yams. Hey, what's this live about? Tongue splitting. Me and my husband are addicted. We are in here. My husband and I need help. Why am I not buying this? Thank you for sharing the live. It's two of us. If you're still here, let me know. Aw, look. Oth is a gem. You're right, Brenix. She is a gem. She's one of the best people I've met in the last 10 years. Maybe even 11. Does it release dopamine in your brain? Absolutely. That's one of the biggest functions of addiction, is to get your brain to release dopamine. And not just release dopamine like it releases if you're exercising or if you're having fun or if you're excited. It releases 4 times the amount of dopamine that any of those things naturally do. That's why this is so dangerous. That's why this is an addiction. That's why addiction is a disease. It changes the chemistry of your brain. It's like throwing acid on your pleasure receptors. It's like throwing acid on your brain. A little bit is okay. A little bit of cleanser in the sink is okay. You don't pour the whole thing in or it rots it. That's what it's like for the pleasure chemicals with the brain. You can look this up on Google. Search, pictures of diseased brains or addicted brains. You'll see porn in there. It looks like a lot of other addicted brains because it's a disease. That is really hopeful. Well, I'm glad that is for you, Janessa. I'm glad that is, and I appreciate you being here. I think you've been here before. Or someone else named Janessa was. I just seem to remember that. How do I stop relapsing to corn? Why are you relapsing to corn? Forget how. Why? I initiated it. Oh, there was a sale, so I started the promotion to reach more people. Well, you are a kick-ass mofo, Carol. Thank you. Thank you. You swell. You swell lady. Anybody ever see Fargo? When, was it Ken Yamagita? He meets up with Marge Gunderson at the Chinese buffet. And he tells this whole fake story. And it's just, you a super lady. I miss you. I miss you so much. You're a super, super lady, Carol. La 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 la. Samuel said stuff he shouldn't say. What in the world was that? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I didn't hear anything. But you just deleted a lot of stuff. I am Crash. I don't know what that was. Okay, well, thank God you're running the room and not me. It helps me sleep. No, it doesn't, Evan. It's a story you tell yourself. There are a total of 0 scientific studies out there that confirm your belief that pornography and or masturbation helps you sleep. It does not. And I can tell you it does not because you are stimulating chemicals that are actually uppers when you do this. You don't need using, it's like saying, I'm going to have a caffeinated beverage to go to sleep. Doesn't work that way. Now you can convince yourself over time that, if I have a Red Bull, I'll go to bed. Doesn't make it scientifically so. And I can also promise you, Mr. Kuntz, that there is not a single person in this world who's never fallen asleep because they didn't look at naked people having sex. I can promise you that. There's nobody who's never fallen asleep at night because they didn't get to masturbate. This is a story that you're telling yourself. This makes it medicinal in nature. I mean, half of the world, maybe not half, but a whole bunch of the world now has marijuana being illegal, and I'll probably get banned for talking about this, but half of the world has made marijuana legal. How did it start? It made it legal medically. That was the first step. So you're trying to somehow give yourself a medicinal reason. That's the first step to excusing this. It doesn't help you sleep. You use porn at night because you like the way it makes you feel. Because you're stimulating a bunch of chemicals going on in your head. Now, what it helps you do, those chemicals help you deal with stress, deal with anxiety, forget about your problems, forget about your fears. That may be what helps you sleep, but it's all fake. All that stuff is still there the next morning. If you don't have good coping skills, if you don't have good problem-solving skills, good emotional regulation, I understand why you may think it helps you sleep, but it doesn't. Janessa with some great ideas like meditation, breathing, working out during the day. Absolutely. 100%. 100%. Yoish, is it possible to make my mind think corn is a life and death situation kind of thing to not do it? Probably not if you're lying to yourself. You've got plenty of good reasons. Do you have a partner? Do you have to lie to them about your porn use? Do you not have a partner? Are you worried you'll never have a partner because of your porn use? Does it make you do weird things like use at work or at school? I'm sure if you look at your life, there are plenty of concrete, real reasons you should stop. You don't have to create life and death scenarios. But if you continue on with this, what I'd ask you is, what kind of life would you have? Are you going to have? If you can't attract a partner, or if you repel a partner that you already have, you may never have children. You never have children, you never have grandchildren. Remember going over to Grandpa's house when you were young? Remember your mom and dad doing things with you? Yeah, well, you're not going to ever have that, and that's because of pornography. And if that's not scary enough, I don't think a life or death situation that is hypothetical will be. Feels like any porn addict coaching focus mainly on men, but I think many more women do it than they admit. Absolutely. Absolutely, Brooke. And as I've said here many times, I have more female I have more female clients now than I have ever had. And every year that number seems to double. I don't know if it's actually going to double in 25. It seems to be holding steady right now. But yeah, 91.5% of men look at porn at least monthly who have access to the internet. 60.2% of women who have access to the internet look at it at least once a month. We've all got working parts down there, addict or not. We've all got working parts. We all have sexual feelings. We're all sexual people. And now we can get this in the privacy of our home and nobody knows about it. So it's part of it is, that I think a lot of people or a lot of women aren't stepping up and getting help because it's still such a taboo, because it's seen as a man's issue. And that's part of the reason that I do this so often, is to try to change that. And I love when I see a woman on my schedule for the porn addiction, because I know just how courageous she has to be stepping up to do that, especially with a man who's probably older than her. But yeah. And the other thing, Brooke, it's a simple matter of economics. I try to push, I think I probably push the idea that I can see women and that women have this and end up with female clients far less on a pound for pound percentage of pushing it to men. Because I want women to know that they're not alone. I want women to know that this can happen to them. I want women to know that they can get help. Nothing's wrong with them. No shame. But I think that's still a hill that we're working on. That's still a hill we're climbing. Where we are with women is where we were with men about 8 to 10 years ago. Mr. What? What did I say? Oh, I'm lagging? Shit. See, I'm seeing that thing every once in a while again. Thank you for letting me know, Ray. Hopefully the lagging has taken care of itself. Bro, please leave me alone. Swipe on to the next one. I'm not going to blow smoke on your ass and up your ass and tell you what you need to hear just because it hurts your feelings. I found the gym helped me. Good for you. Good for you. Temporarily. I won't talk to you again, Evan, if you don't talk to me. It's you know how this room works. Brennix, because I had gym routine to look forward to the next day. Absolutely. Looking forward to things. Do you know what happens when you look forward to things? You release dopamine. The day or two before I travel, the day that I'm going to a concert, oh my God, I am on cloud 9. I got dopamine coursing through me all day. You know how you get to that point using porn, for those of you who are the addicts, where you kind of don't even remember what's happening, and an hour later you don't even know what you finished with? I mean, it's a sign of addiction, yes, but I sometimes get that way at concerts now because I get so much dopamine hitting me that I'm at these things. I have to take videos so I remember everything. All right, my partner thinks it's neutral now. He just tells himself he can't do it. That's sad. That's sad. Because if you tell yourself that story, you're not going to be able to do it. That is really sad. What do you think about kids drinking in college? I think that it is going to happen every single day of the week. I think that campus security is paid well to look the other way. And I think you hear horror stories because it's not taken seriously enough, especially with those who are under 21 years of age. When he wants to, so he doesn't, to not relapse. Okay. So he thinks it's not good or bad, even though he knows it's harmed me and him. He just doesn't fully believe it internally. Well, he may be one of those guys who, maybe part of his trauma comes from, being scared of the word bad. It's a fear word. He, remembers mom, bad, bad. He remembers teacher, bad, bad. He doesn't want to believe anything is bad because if something is bad, he's bad. I mean, I'm just spitballing here, but I'm throwing out, he knows it's harmed you, but how has it harmed him? He may not be able to wrap his arms around the idea. And it sounds like he doesn't fully believe it internally, even though we all know it's true. He can't get himself to believe it internally because something else is going on there. He can't get himself to believe it internally because something else is going on there. I think that's something that needs to be considered. Oth, when did your partner believe it was bad? You're gonna go ask him. Yeah, go ask him. Her partner's a cool guy. I like him. It sounds like, Janessa, that if he admits this stuff, it's him having to admit certain other things to himself that he's not ready to. If he admits his behavior was bad, then what he did to you was bad, and that makes him a bad person, and that brings on more shame. And his psyche is telling him he can't handle one more ounce of shame, so he will not allow himself to connect those dots. Brennick says the problem is everyone has access to whatever they want. That's not the problem. The problem is that we are not educated and our brains do not develop at the speed of technology. We should be able to handle this, but our Puritan, we could handle this very easily. This could be something that is started education-wise, age-appropriate, young in school, just like they do for drugs and alcohol. But it's taboo because it's naked people. It's taboo because it's sex. It's going to offend way too many of the religious people, so we can't do this. It's all about fear. It's all about fear. I know he was aware of how much damage it did to me immediately after finding out, and I know he thinks it's wrong to, where are we here? Do when he is in a relationship. My partner thought it's normal to do even though he hid it. It was a lie. He told him, yes, it was. It sounds like that your partner, Janessa, is very good at minimizing and justifying. And that's that's a lot of that is the foundation of gaslighting. And why are addicts such good gaslighters? Why can we convince you of anything? Because we can convince ourselves of anything. We've learned how to play ourselves like a fiddle, so we can use those skills and do it to you. We can convince ourselves of anything. This is going to be okay. I can get away with this. When it's not the case. When it's not the case at all. I do it as a coping mechanism for not receiving love from a woman and anxiety, but also recently more of desire. I bet it goes earlier than that, Yoish. It may be a coping mechanism for some of those things now, but what was it originally a coping mechanism for? Because I bet deep down that's still a problem too. My husband and I, before we even started dating, had a convo and agreed that it was destructive to a relationship. But he only made it a few months before he began to do it again and hid it from me till I found out after we got married. Janessa is appropriately shocked. She says OMG and then does those eyes that I still don't really know what it means because I don't speak emoji well. OMG and then does those eyes that I still don't really know what it means because I don't speak emoji well. And then Oth continues, because of him having addiction, he did not seek help for that. He did not seek help for that I didn't know about. Here's what I'll say. If you believe it's cheating, it is. And then Jerboy says, Corn, love that you put the name. Ha ha. Okay. That one, AKH. Hey, you're still here, or you came back. And I know I'm falling behind. I'll catch up with everybody. Why do you hate watching it right after doing it and later you want to watch it again? Those are your habits. I mean, I didn't hate watching it right after doing it, to be honest. I think what you're probably saying is you hate yourself. You feel shame. You know you did something you didn't want to do. And later on, that shame, that guilt, that worry, that clarity disappears, and you need another fix. And you rationalize and justify yourself to that fix. Cheating is up to the interpretation of every individual. Everyone has a different definition. If he doesn't believe, so that's his belief. But if you believe it is, he has to respect that. So well said, Oth. Wherever you learn this, they taught you well. I think it's really sad. I don't know how he'll even finally accept it then. Well, I don't know why. He may not. So what's the plan if he doesn't, Janessa? What's the plan if he doesn't accept it? Maddox says your live is sponsored? No. Oh, it was. Yeah, it was sponsored. I have a wonderful sponsor out there. I have a great sponsor. I don't know why people think it can't be cheating. Well, I mean, if you're both on the same page with it and both don't consider it cheating, then it wouldn't be cheating. Just like if you both are, you both can do some very bad things and think it's not bad if you're on the same page. It's because they think differently than we do. It's because they have probably not thought this through. It's because they have a problem and they are so scared to death of losing a partner that they will just spiral. I mean, you've been here long enough, Oth, as I have, that so many guys with the same story, and I see them in my sessions every day. Are you sorry you did it, or are you sorry you got caught? I'm sorry I did it. Then why did it take you getting caught to do something about it? And most still don't understand why the lying is the worst part. What's the best way to deal with withdrawals? Exercise, get sun, eat well. Talk to your doctor if you're having some serious withdrawals. Maybe they can prescribe something. Depends what's going on. Most of the time, it's just take it. He'll end. I have a close friend that deals with this. I hope your man can heal. Yeah, this wrecks so many different things. Jesus, we can convince ourselves of anything. Yep, I never realized it could damage the brain. Oh, absolutely. If you haven't gone and checked it, and are you still, I don't know you, Brooke. I do remember your name from being here. Are you still in active addiction? Or are you in recovery? Are you getting help from people now? Do you have sustained sobriety? Do you know why you were an addict? Every question I just asked, tell me your story. I never realized it could damage the brain. Anytime we can get a woman who is an addict in here to talk anything about it, I want to do that because you're one of the unicorns. We need more of you out there. We need more ladies talking about this and normalizing it for the other ladies. I'm going to take 1 second here just quickly to let you know who I am. There's a lot of people in here. I know I'm behind on the comments. I'm going to speed through them soon. My name is Josh. I was a porn addict for 24 years. I was an alcoholic for 22 years. I have been clean and sober now for 11 years, relapse-free the entire time. I first started in this area of study as an author and a presenter 8 years ago. 5 years ago, at the beginning of the pandemic, I evolved into being a full-time certified pornography addiction coach, betrayal trauma coach, and disclosure specialist. I'm here to answer any questions you may have. I can help the addict, I can help the partner, I can help a relationship as a whole. I'm only going to be here about another 10-15 minutes, but if you have any questions, please get them in here. I'll try to get to them in time. If not, you can send me a message. And if you think you could use some one-on-one time with me, go to the front page of my profile, click on the link tree, and you will have a bunch of options for joining my social media. But the second one is the one about having a session with me. And on top of that, I am about 1/3 as expensive as a therapist, and you can be booked with me as early as Monday morning. All right, where did I leave off here? How do we figure out what the root causes are? You hire someone like me who is trained to help you. Most of the time, you're too close to the storm to be able to figure out what the root causes are. And that's what sucks about it. I had to talk to people to get to my root causes. Just about everybody I know has to talk to people because you're so blinded by your own story. You're so blinded by the stories you've told yourselves that you getting to your own root causes is rare. Thank you for your responses, Janessa says. Well, I assume you're saying that towards Oth because she's been so wonderful in here. I accidentally clicked off. Son of a bitch. Oth says there are relationships where it's permitted to sleep with other people. Do they think it's cheating? No. Would he? Probably. So even if he doesn't see it as cheating, it's not less any real for you. Right. Correct. Correct. Yes. People who think it can't be cheating in any relationship. You are correct. Both people have to play ball. Both people have to play ball. You know what? Do I have... Of course, it's so... Both people have to play ball. You know what? Do I have... Of course, it's so freaking tiny. And that's not correct there. Hold on a moment. I'm trying to figure out how to keep going with this live, but I don't know if I have the right cord for my phone because my phone's about to die. Aha, I found it. Okay, hold on a sec. I'm going to plug in my phone and we're going to keep going. Because we're having a good discussion and I hate to just run away because my phone is dying. Okay. Yoish says, probably the loneliness, satisfaction. I never had any friends when I first found it at 12, now 19. Well, let me ask you, 12 to 19 are really the most important years when it comes to, not most important, but very important when it comes to learning social skills. Can you hang out with other 19-year-olds, in a healthy way? Can you be among your peers? Do you know how to ask someone out on a date? Do you go places where someone would ask you out on a date? Are you, what's the word? Are you isolating yourself into this situation? Brooke says, the lying is the worst part. I didn't even realize I was gaslighting and manipulating those I love. It's been tough. Yeah, well, and that's, I don't know if you've heard me say this before. I think I actually found a way to do this. I'm sorry that I'm being a pain in the ass to everybody. Okay, this will probably, I don't think the other cord was going to work. And good, we are charged. We are charging. Let me go back to where we were. Okay. Yeah, you don't realize you're doing that because it's just part of your normal life. That's why, you get this, Brooke. The mind of an addict is different. Those of us in here who are addicts, we know that the mind of an addict is different. It's hard to explain to someone who thinks normally. Yuri says, as weird as it sounds, I wish I was caught doing it when I was first introduced to it. Would have helped me resolve to change quicker. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it would have made you better at hiding it. You know, it's not that you just got addicted because you got really good at it. There are reasons why you got addicted. There is trauma at the root of it. Even if someone caught you, that may have made things even worse. Who knows? You know, who knows? I want to show myself I can be healthy for the first time at 25. You can, Brooke. You absolutely can. You absolutely can. But are you doing something to do that? What are you doing to do that? Finally got Airball out of here. Got dad jokes out of here. Wow. Didn't see what they said, but I know they sometimes sneak up in my comments on my videos. What if you're too intelligent to confide in someone to identify your own root causes? Yeah, that's not intelligence. That's cowardice. That's called cowardice. It means you're afraid. It means that you're weak. Because a smart person would do anything they could to heal. An intelligent person would confide in someone to get better. Janessa says, yes, Brooke, you're right. That's pride talking. It's sad because I know he also be traumatized if he found me doing that, even though he thinks it's normal. Exactly, Janessa. Exactly. He is a hypocrite, just like all of us who are addicts are hypocrites. The addiction is about us. The addiction is not about you. And honestly, he might not care as much as you hope he would. He might be relieved if you used porn, because that means you'd get the hell off his back and let him flail around and wallow in his addiction. But now he said he thinks it's wrong because I've preached about how bad it is. But if he found me doing instead of him when I found it, I understand what you're saying. Just make sure he's not telling you what you need to hear. Because if the goal is shut Janessa up, maybe he just figured out how. Sorry, I'm finding where I left off. Especially because he gets upset and jealous when I barely talk about a past guy friend. Because here's the thing. You can have sex with that past guy friend. He can't have sex with the women on his phone. He knows he'll never be able to hook that up. But your past guy friend, oh yeah, he knows you know how to hook that up. It's scary for him. It's fear. This is all fear-based. Yuri says, fair point. I've talked to a professional about this, and it's actually helping a lot. Oh, I'm glad to hear that, Yuri. I'm glad to hear you're getting help. That's important. Yosh says, I was isolating, but not by choice. Nobody wanted to be my friend, and so let myself be invisible. Well, we can argue the semantics of this, but here's the question, Yosh. You're now 19. You've now identified this problem of pornography addiction. You've identified a cause, deep loneliness. What are you going to do about the cause of the deep loneliness? And are you talking to anybody about why that seemed like isolating was the best choice? Do you know why you're telling yourself the story people didn't want to be your friend? All just some things to think about. Talked past point of view, past POV. I don't know what that means. Maybe you're talking to Oth. I don't know. I'm just trying not to fall too far behind. Cam181, thank you for sharing the live. Appreciate it if you'd all type up those likes. We're not that far from 10,000. 32 people in the room right now. That's cool. Please, if you're not following me, do. Please tap up those likes, get more people in here, get this in front of them in case they have a problem on their FYP. Following me, do. Please tap up those likes, get more people in here, get this in front of them in case they have a problem on their FYP. And also, if you wouldn't mind sharing this, I'd appreciate that as well. And of course, I always accept gifts. Do you know a way on how I can find my root causes? Yeah, book a session with me, Melvin. You need to talk to someone who's a trauma expert and who has some expertise in addiction. You're talking to a guy who does that. Who has some expertise in addiction. You're talking to a guy who does that. Probably 75 to 80% of the time in a first session, I can be like, I think we're looking in this area. How you can find your root causes, you're probably not going to do it. You're probably not going to do it yourself. Most people can't. It's like saying, you know, perform an operation on a tooth. You shouldn't do that. You don't know how to do it. Hi, Jad. Good to see you. Brooke the Stratton says, 5 weeks in a woman's recovery program. Thought alcohol was my addiction, starting to see more. Was that inpatient or was that like intense outpatient or what was the program? K-Van got muted. What I liked about the therapy I am seeking is that we identify what the main issue is, because this is just a symptom of the main problem. Absolutely correct, Yuri. Pornography addiction is not the main problem. It's a symptom of the main problem. When people say, how do I know if I'm a pornography addict? Well, you have the symptoms of being a pornography addict. Okay, so I'm a porn addict. Yes, but being a porn addict is just one step down too. There's a bigger reason for that. The reason is you have trauma, and this is one of the ways you deal with the trauma. A symptom of your trauma is that you have adapted an addiction. Some people become total empaths. Some people become total overachievers. Everybody handles this stuff differently. What if I only did it on the weekends? Well, there are people who drink only on the weekends and are alcoholics. But I would say, what's the effect on your life, Hunter? I mean, are you losing your weekends entirely to it? Ultimately, it's up for you to decide. If you wonder if you're an addict, go to the front page of my profile, click on the pinned video at the top that says the 11 symptoms of corn addiction. Follow that and you'll know. Brooke says, I do think I could benefit from another session. We hear each other at group, but don't fix each other. Brooke, book with me, please. Book with me for Monday or Tuesday. Let's talk for an hour. Let's hang out. Let's talk about this. No shame, no embarrassment. I promise you, I've seen everything you have. I'm not a bad person. I'm not a pervert. I'm guessing you're not either. Same thing for all of you here. If any of you have never talked about this, I can be there for you. And my favorite thing that happens in a first-time session, especially with somebody who's never done any kind of recovery work, is when they show up looking like they're ready for shock treatment. You know, they look like a deer in headlights. Okay. And I'm like, let me tell you the ground rules. Let me tell you all this, my opening spiel. Within 30 minutes, we're laughing. They're sitting back. We're just talking like two folks. Yes, of course, I'm steering the conversation and I'm asking some very pointed questions that probably never been asked before. But it's just a conversation. It's just a conversation. Yuri says, I'm sorry I'm falling behind, everybody. I'm going to try to go faster. Yuri says the main issue was because this is just a simple... Oh, yeah, we already did that. Spiders, thank you for following me. Brooke, it's about time. Thank you for following me. Weekly group meetings, we are going through a book called Stepping Out of Denial. Is it specifically pornography addiction? Or is it addiction in general? Or, I'm just curious. Meware, thank you for sharing the live. I never even thought I was in denial because I'm so open, but today's culture tells you nothing is bad. Precisely. Cam181, thank you for sharing the live. I appreciate that. Yuri says, because if you look at it, it is harming different areas of your well-being. Yeah, theoretically. I'm really concerned with the brain because that's where addiction takes place. But yeah, no, addiction is going to cause ripple effects through all areas of your life. And a lot of people don't recognize that. Okay, if for me, for instance, I didn't watch 10 hours of porn a day. I watched like 2 hours of porn a day. The problem was it was from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. So it kept me up very late at night. Sometimes it would keep me up till 3:30, sometimes 4, sometimes 4:30. And there I was waking up for work the next day at 6:30. You can't go months on end with 2 hours of sleep, but I was doing that. The porn was affecting my work because I picked that over sleep. Yet a deeper calling inside me tells me there is more. I get you don't believe in Christianity, the values that helped me change. That's why I'm curious. I have no problem with Christianity, Brooke. If it's helping you and if it's giving you the strength that you need, what I have problems with Christianity is that I don't like that there are a percentage of Christians who will tell others that they cannot heal if they don't do it their way, if they don't follow their God. That's what I don't care if you're a Christian, a Hindu, a Muslim, an atheist, an agnostic. I don't care what you are. And I have my own very specific spiritual beliefs. And I was raised a Catholic and went through all the sacraments and all that. I feel like there's more out there. I don't attach it to a religion anymore because what I believe, there isn't a club for this. But I think that spirituality is fantastic and can be a huge piece of recovery. It can be a great foundation because with spirituality, with religion, is supposed to become faith. And you need the faith, you need the belief that you can get better. You don't need to have a specific God to have that belief or faith, but it really does seem to help to believe you can get better if you already can believe in something bigger than you. Ryan Mullen, thank you for sharing the live. Appreciate that very much. Where the hell am I? God, I'm behind. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm so behind on. Janessa, I don't know if you're still here, but just putting this out there. Shock treatment. I'm pretty chill. Hate to say this, but don't just assume that you're reason enough for them to change. Great point. Great point, Oth. And that's because, and let's be honest, a lot of times you won't be. In my life, my wife, my family wasn't enough for about 10 years. And thank God I woke up. But Oth is 100% correct. Don't just assume since they saw how hurt I was, they're never going to do it again. You're right. You're right. It's for all hurts, habits, and hang-ups. We got some cool people in here. I like you ladies. You're smart. Hi, good evening, dear sir. I have to check my email for a long beige and will. Okay, well, who doesn't like light brown? You go ahead and check your email. I know I can't be enough. He has to have the reason internally. I don't know how to for sure. He does. Don't understand that, but as long as Oth does. Andrea, Think Dynamic Digital. Cool name. Corn is so damaging and makes him have unrealistic expectations. Uh, I'm going to disagree with here a little bit. Because I think once the point you're an addict, once the point you're, over 30 years old, you don't have unrealistic expectations. You know you're never going to get in those scenarios. You know you're never going to get with a person who looks like that. I think it changes and is not about unrealistic expectations. I think it's about unfulfilled desires at that point when someone is ill. But, if you're 40 years old and you haven't hooked up that three-way, it's probably not going to happen. So it probably is no longer about unrealistic expectations. I think that's true with younger viewers, 100%, and is no longer about unrealistic expectations. I think that's true with younger viewers, 100%, and absolutely it's damaging right across the board. I say this because after finding out about my husband, I tried to sushi slide. Is that how we're saying it now? He still continued. I didn't know that's how we were saying it now. What sushi slide? Yeah. Thank you, Janessa. Janessa and I go to the same school of what the hell does that emoji mean? Behind my back for another year before I found out a second time. Never could have imagined he was capable of that. Yeah, and it sucks when you know it is, when you know he is. It sucks when you know he is. Exactly, says Andrea. Okay, good. I'm glad you agree. Boyfriend stopped vid first day I found out and never went back. Continued with books and audio and justified it. Yeah, now he's sober. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I hope you're okay now. I can't believe he did that still. He thought, okay, yeah, we're going into that other stuff. I just know your history. So they won't change unless they want to. Well, that's true, Andrea. And a lot of them won't change because they don't know how to. They don't know the first step. And a lot of them won't change because they're afraid. That's the thing. And that's the thing that I see, especially in some of the older men, and older meaning over 35, because this is sort of a young skewing addiction. But when I talk to the men who are 35 and over, I see so much of being scared, knowing that there is some deep stuff that's going to give them the ick that they don't want to talk about. That they have been using pornography as an anesthetic to not have to think about that stuff because the trauma is just below the surface. And they're doing everything they can to hold on, to be that man, when what they are is a 9-year-old little boy who just needs a hug. And it's so sad that so many men just will not take that step. Janessa says, I am traumatized from it and won't allow a dating partner to as well. Good for you. Lots of smart people here. True, Bernax, we're having a great night for a Saturday night. I've been doing this for like 2 hours now. I was planning on being out of here a while ago, but we're going to finish this up and in a few minutes, and I'll go our separate ways. But I'm glad you're all here. If you're not following, please do. And as I've explained, if you need any help, visit the front page of my profile. You go there to do that. And then click on the link tree. 1K likes. Why, thank you. Thank you very much. Brooke says, you will know by their actions if they want or will change and stop gaslighting and making excuses. Just my personal journey. I think you're 100% correct there, Brooke. I think you're 100% correct. I was building a desk today, so now I have an Allen wrench with a handle that, when I was in rehab, the number one thing that sold well at the bookstore was when I was in rehab, the number one thing that sold well at the bookstore was the like thinking putty that you could play with. And you would walk into a group, whether it was 6 people or whether it was 60 people, and everybody's sitting there talking and just playing, you know, and that's why I'm always playing with something or a pen or something like that. Okay. Yeah. 10K likes. Yes. Almost 11K likes. I backslide, says Melvin, and every time I backslide, it's worse than the last time. Each relapse feels heavier, like it's digging a deeper hole. Why are you relapsing? Examine the relapse. Examine the relapse. My boyfriend is actually the one that has an issue with it. He never does. My ex seemed to like it. Of course, because most guys are raised with the idea that a girl that's into porn, oh my God, that is so sexy. That is so hot. And then you meet the guy who isn't into that, and then you're the addict, and wait, this isn't the way it's supposed to be? Yeah, it's funny the way things work out. Some funny as in ironic, don't you think? Oh, you guys should all like follow each other and be friends. But then you wouldn't need me. Melvin, thank you for the flower. Where are we here? Brenax, gonna head off. Appreciate everyone in the chat and obviously the host. Shout out to Oth. Yes, thank you, Brenax. Shout out to everybody. Thank you for being here. I appreciate your questions. Appreciate you being part of the conversation. You have a good rest of your weekend. I caught my boyfriend using it on my TV. Ugh. I'm sorry, Ray. Did you not know that he watched? Was he just clearly not using good common sense? What did you do? Ugh. Sorry about that. Brooke says, I wonder what Alan did to get a wrench named after him. It's a good question. Although, you know what? He probably just got a piece of metal and just was like, I'm going to carve, is that 6? I'm going to carve 6 sides into it. And here you go. There's the, you come to my TikTok for the interesting stuff. At least be as smart about it if you're going to try and manipulate me. Yes, if I'm being manipulated, I don't want to know about it. That's very funny, Janessa. I like that. You have to have a sense of humor. You have to have a sense of humor about this. I have a client, a female client, and she is a porn addict, but she hates porn. I mean, she hates it. She doesn't want her partner to use it. She gets very jealous. And she found that he was following this one model, you know, everything he could find about this model. And when she was breaking it off with him, she said, you know, you should send her some DMs. You should send her some messages. Try to get with her. She's clearly what you want. So, you know, do it. That's your dream. That's your aspiration. Go for her. Which I thought was kind of funny because I'm sure he was thinking, I could never get her. But he lost this other woman. Kind of funny because I'm sure he was thinking, I could never get her. But he lost this other woman because of doing this other stuff. Thank you for the flower, Rach. Thank you for the flower. Thank you for 2 flowers. Alan was probably cool. You guys are funny now. I'm sorry, I'm so far back here. It's definitely ironic. Alanis, hey, you're only 25 and you got the reference. Good for you. It's refreshing to hear a woman as an addict, not in a good way. No, but the thing is, that's part of the reason I tried to create a room where people who are betrayed, men or women, can talk to each other. And people who are addicts, men and women, can talk to each other. But more importantly, we can talk to and learn from everybody in here. I love it when I'm scrolling going, Jesus, everybody's just talking to themselves. They're all having side conversations, and I don't really read them because I'm trying to find the others. But I love that. I absolutely love that. And yeah, it helps you understand. It helps you understand when you understand other people's stories. You understand other people's point of views. This is how we grow. This is how we learn. You've been a big help. Thank you. You're welcome. Because a woman feels more safe. Absolutely, Janessa. I understand why a woman feels more safe for a woman, and I understand for many men why a man feels more safe. But I also can say that the therapist that I still go to, only about once every 3 weeks now, but she's been my therapist for about 12 years. I could never have communicated to a man the way that I communicate to her. And it's funny because she's also around my age, where almost every therapist I had before her was much older. So if you're looking for help, don't judge on gender, don't judge on age, don't judge on religion or political beliefs. Can this person help you? That really is the bottom line. How he found it wrong and harmful in his own words. Oh, okay. Janessa and anyone else that could benefit. Once mine was serious, he started talking with me about how he found it wrong and harmful in his own words, instead of how it was in the past of him just listening to me, preaching to him. That's a great point off. That's awesome. That's a great technique. That's a great technique. I like that. Hope I gave it to him. Or you thought it up. I didn't know he watched because I used to be at work. That stinks. But what did you do when you found out? What was the next step in after discovery? Hey, Sam for Skin, what up? Alan was probably cool. Yes, I think Alan was a badass. Alan was so cool. Down the road, someone said, I got to give him a black handle. To know it's like an insult. He thinks I was so dumb. I know, but I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. And this is why I have to tell guys again and again and again, they're going to find out. They're smarter than you. They're going to find out. We don't need an FBI and a CIA in America. We just need a bunch of jealous women, and our spies will have nothing on them. Am I Christian? No, I am not. But if you are, I'm fine with that. Janessa's laughing. Hello, Mr. Foreskin. That was probably my biggest indicator. Things were different this time around. I'm glad you're sharing this off. I don't think you've shared this before, and it's giving me some perspective. Thank you. Cool says, gotta release somehow or it will build up and the testosterone will take control. This sounds like someone who doesn't know what they're talking about, because testosterone has nothing to do with pornography addiction. I'm guessing that you have not been using good sources to get your information. I hope he finally preaches too. Well, you can always just ask him. You can always just ask him. So do you think it's wrong? And if he doesn't also, Janessa, if he won't change, we then have to start asking Janessa, how long are you willing to wait? How long are you willing to put up with this? Was this what you wanted when you were a little girl? Yeah, this was really helpful, man. Around how much does a session cost? Depends what options you choose, Brooke. Depends what you want to do moving forward, how many you want. Go to the front page of my profile, click on the link tree, or go to my website, thatcorncoach.com, and or DM me on here and I can send you all the information. How can we avoid other people? And off pretty much answered you right there. How can we avoid other people getting a corn addiction? You can't. You can't run other people's minds. You can't run other people's lives. You can provide them with education. You can provide them with the knowledge you're always there to help them if they get into a sticky situation and some trouble. But you don't control other people. You know, you just don't. Jesus loves you. Why? Thank you, Kyoto. Ivory, thank you very much. Appreciate hearing that. Brooke says, I know my dad was a corn addict. My daughter can say that. Feels weird to have a convo with him about my struggles. Maybe one day. Well, you know what? That also is something where there may be a DNA component to this. You can pass, there's some solid evidence that hereditary, passing down genes does have to do with addiction. I've often wondered about, any of my dad's issues. Not that I'd ever learn about them, or my granddad, who, is long dead. But, I've wondered if there was anything like this in the family. You talk about I'm bipolar. You go look at both sides of my family and go back and look at some of the stories, look at some of the genealogy and stuff, and wow, this was passed down. Even though they may not have had bipolar in 1860, my great great grandfather, or wow, this was passed down. Even though they may not have had bipolar in 1860, my great great grandfather or great 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 grandfather did some shit that was off the wall. So maybe it'll be something that you can share as both having this issue, especially as an adult, and Brooke, I'll tell you, my daughter is 25 years old, and I have a better relationship with her now than ever before. I left him and took the kids and dogs and moved in with the parents. Good for you. Good for you. I'm glad you took action. Kind of think it can be generational like alcohol can be. Absolutely. That's my family's story. 3 of my 4 grandparents were alcoholics. My parents never saw either of them touch a drop in their life. Not true. I've actually seen my dad sip wine twice. Never seen my mom put it to her lips. I was raised with the belief that if alcohol, I even took a sip, I would end up a homeless wino. Hobo, whatever we call them these days. Then I had some alcohol and was like, well, actually, they're wrong. So I certainly can understand that. And I think it is generational. I absolutely think there's a component to that. Okay, I'm going to quickly get through this thing, call it a night. I know I've said that before, but I'm going to keep going. Janessa says, I hope you can talk to your dad one day. It'll be very connecting. Yeah, you're right, Janessa. You're right. What if you never learn about corn or ever see it? What if you never learn about corn or ever see it? Would it change anything? I don't know. I mean, what if the sky was yellow? What would that have done? I don't know. It's a hypothetical we don't have to think about, so I'm not going to spend too much time worrying about it. I can see straight up asking being beneficial too. I feel like the response would be very telling. Yeah, exactly. It's not that you want to hear the truth, it's you want to see the reaction. Does it sound like his real thoughts or something he's regurgitating back to you like performance? Well said. Both. Okay. Oth is right. Keep asking him. He says he knows it's hurtful to me, but he doesn't internally think it's bad and disgusting yet. Well, book a session with me. I'll help him. I'm happy for not having kids. Absolutely, Brooke. One of the things that sucks for me is that my kids were 11 and 14 when I entered rehab. They know everything about this. If you can take care of this issue, you may not pass it on to them. And you can probably also raise them to be more aware than you were. So don't not have kids just because you're afraid at some point they'll look at porn. I mean, when your parents had you, they couldn't have guessed about OnlyFans or TikTok or social media. We don't know what the world is going to be. So, we all have issues. We all pass them along. If you think you would be a good mom, if you think you would be good with kids, if you think having a family is a good and important thing, don't let this stop you. Or my sneezing. And also, if you don't want to have kids, don't. Absolutely don't. Just don't tie it to the pornography. So many comments. Thank you for following me, Luis. Is it about learning about it, or do you just have to believe it? Well, it's different for different people. It's different for different people. It's kind of the way it works. Some people need facts, figures. They want science. They want math. Some people want emotional arguments. You have to give the person, especially if they're an addict, you got to give them what they want. Brr, brr, brr. If you keep asking someone to do something and they still don't, that is your answer. Or not to do something as well. That's awesome, Rach. That is so true. That is so true. I want to ask him now. I'll have him watch some of the lives first. Yeah, I'm gonna tomorrow hopefully get some of these recent ones up on YouTube. I have neglected that for a while. Around what times do you do lives every day? Hey Sandra, I haven't seen you for a while. Good to see you. I'm quitting here in a second, but I'm glad you're here, Sandra. Just good to know you're alive. La, 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 la. I typically do lives probably 4 or 5 times a week, and I do them I start them either between like noon and 2 in the afternoon Eastern, or I start them between like 7 and 9 Eastern at night. Depends on what my schedule is, because I have sessions with people. There are some loud cats outside. Anywho, so make sure you're following me, Janessa, and then you'll see when I'm online or when I'm doing lives. But wonder what's going on. All right. Hi, AMC. I thought if I kept telling them they would do it or not do it, I didn't know what to do if they didn't. Yeah. Okay. I gotta go.